I see social media posts all the time about people with Starlink having issues with their system not booting up after a power outage. And this is a pretty common occurrence. Not only does that happen, sometimes the router actually gets factory reset, disconnecting all the devices and making the network unsecured. That happens after power fluctuations. So this got me thinking it'd probably be a good idea to make this video covering using a UPS with Starlink. So I'll be talking about what a UPS is, what it does, and how it can be a little bit of insurance for future issues with your Starlink. My name is Colby. Welcome to Starlink Hardware. UPS stands for uninterruptible power supply. And basically what that means is that it's a battery backup for any devices that you plug into it. So typically a UPS will be plugged into your AC wall outlet. It has a battery that it maintains and keeps charged. In the event that your AC power goes out, like from a power outage or a power fluctuation, the UPS can automatically and seamlessly transfer all of the loads that you have plugged into the UPS onto battery backup power. Now, a UPS typically isn't meant to power devices for a really long period of time. It's just meant to power it for anywhere from a few seconds to a few hours so that you can finish any task that you're working on and safely power down the equipment, or get in place your backup power like a generator, for example, or a transfer switch for your main house electrical system. Starlink is super important as a communication device for a lot of people. In some cases, it may be your only method of communication to the outside world, like if you live outside of cell service range. So it's really important to keep your Starlink system online, especially during a storm, so that you can continue to monitor the weather, get the latest updates, and communicate with friends and family if needed. If your power goes out, it doesn't do any good to have Starlink if that thing turns off. And sometimes it could take up to 15 or 20 minutes to get it back online after power is restored. This is where a UPS can come in handy. Since it has a battery backup, it can run your Starlink for a few hours, and since it has that automatic transfer switch, you won't notice any interruption between the AC power going out and the battery backup kicking in. It happens in just under 10 milliseconds or so, so the Starlink won't even know that it's lost power because that battery backup kicks in so fast. But UPSs are way more than just battery backup. The other important function that they serve is as a surge protector. So usually around power outages and fluctuations, you'll see variable voltages from the utility as they struggle to kind of keep their grid up. And when this happens, too high of voltages can actually damage Starlink. If you have too low of a voltage, that can actually cause your system to shut off or reboot. So inside of a UPS, they have circuitry that helps regulate and smooth out those voltages that you get from your AC mains outlet. No matter what the AC side of it's doing from your utility grid, you can be sure that any devices that are plugged into your UPS have a stable voltage output. If you have a power spike, your devices that are plugged into the UPS are not going to see that. They're going to be protected from that with the built-in surge protection. A lot of UPSs also have built-in Ethernet surge protection. So they have Ethernet ports that you could use to separate your devices on your local area network from your Starlink router. So you plug the Starlink router into the UPS, and then you plug your network switch or other devices into the UPS port as well. And that separates the two. So if you get a lightning strike on your Starlink dish, a lot of times that power will go through the Starlink cable into your router, and then sometimes it can fry any devices that are plugged into the Ethernet ports on your router. If you use a UPS to separate the two, that Ethernet surge protection will protect all of your expensive devices so that only your Starlink equipment is damaged. UPSs are also great for areas that have unstable power grids. If your power grid has frequent voltage spikes or drops or just fluctuates or goes out all the time, a UPS is a great way to smooth all that out. So the battery backup combined with the automatic transfer switch combined with the voltage regulation means that you have a constant stable output for any of your devices like Starlink. So no matter what the grid is doing, all of your devices that are plugged into a UPS are going to remain powered on and stable. So how do you use a UPS with Starlink? Well, it's really simple. All you have to do is actually just plug in your Starlink router into one of the power outlets on the back of the UPS. The one behind me that I have has about 10 outlets on the back, 5 of which are backed up by the battery. All of them are power surge protected. So really all you need to do is plug in the UPS to a power outlet near your Starlink router, and then plug your Starlink router into the UPS. There are a lot of UPSs out there to choose from, And which one is best for you depends mainly on how long you want it to run, how many devices you need to plug in, things like that. Before I started the blog and YouTube channel, I worked in a hospital as an electronics technician. I worked on a lot of critical patient care devices and systems, and we used APC brand UPSs all the time. We use those to back up anything from critical lab equipment to critical patient care equipment to networking racks, everything in between. We mainly used APC UPSs for our equipment, so I have a lot of experience with that brand, and that's what I would recommend to you. The one behind me is an APC brand. It's a 1500 volt amp. I believe it's called the BAC UPS model lineup. They have different capacity ratings for the battery depending on how many hours or minutes that you need your loads to run, but I will leave a link to this one that I personally recommend in the description below. I love this one because it has a nice display that actually shows you the voltage output, shows you how many minutes the battery could back up your current load, and it's just super easy to operate. It's just got 3 buttons. You really can't mess it up. You just plug it in, turn it on, and you're set. So should you use a UPS with Starlink? Absolutely. I think everyone should. It's just really cheap insurance that you could use to protect your equipment and other network devices from power surges, power outages. The last thing you want during a storm is to have your Starlink system boot down and then not be able to reboot. That has happened before. I see it all the time on social media posts. And it doesn't just protect your Starlink, it can protect other devices that you plug into it as well. Let me know in the comments below, do you use a UPS? Which model do you use? As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.